Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to build Telegram AI shopping assistant, which will help customer with their queries and also with placing their orders, right? So let's say, for example, a customer comes to our uh, to Telegram and then asks, "Do you have any Nike running shoes under 5,000?" So our assistant should be able to answer, "Yes, I found three options." If customer asks like check for size 9, it should answer that okay, there are two options available for size 9, right? So this is what we're going to build. Now, one thing to highlight here, this is not going to be build an AI agent in 30 minutes tutorial. We are going to build real system here. By a problem, we architect, we define the tools, we define what data is needed, we'll see the agent workflow, and we'll see how memory works in terms of agent workflow. We'll see how do we evaluate agent performance, we'll put guardrails, and then how do we deploy it, right? Bit about me. My name is Gaurav. I've been working as a data scientist, AI and Gen AI. I've over 10 years of experience. I've built real applications using data science and AI. That includes LLM, RAG, and agent, right? So how do we build, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we'll identify a problem, we'll architect that, okay, what are the components that are needed, we'll design, then we'll build. One thing I would like to highlight here that this is not going to be a typical coding exercise. We'll be building with Claude Code because I've realized for a period of 6 to 8 months now that companies are pivoting to agentic coding or coding agents like Claude Code and GitHub Copilot to do the coding. So I'd say coding is not a magical skill anymore, but identifying a problem and understanding how do you solve that is the newest skill that one should have, right? So so we'll be using Claude Code to build this, but then you don't worry if you do not have Claude Code subscription. I'll have link attached for this entire project. You can where you can download the code, you can go through, and also you will have free chat subscription that you get with ChatGPT or Claude, right? That you can use to do the coding, right? So that should be fine. But as I mentioned, this is not going to be where you're going to write code by yourself, right? So we'll be building this uh, on live. We'll be doing this with Claude Code, right? Because that is what is expected, right? Now, after that, we'll test this application. We'll see if things are broken, then we'll fix it, and then we'll deploy, right? And this is going to be our engineering loop. So we iterate, we improve, and we ship. Fine. Now, for this project, one thing I would like to highlight on this channel, idea is that we will be building real-time systems, meaning that we'll identify the problem that companies are looking for or that will get you hired, or on freelance portals, you see frequently that companies or the clients are asking that, okay, I need a person with a skill to build uh, a system like that, right? So that's the idea, right? So for this particular project, I have taken Telegram AI shopping assistant, but then uh, this similar approach can be followed for WhatsApp-based AI shopping assistant, and we'll try to make this as pretty configurable so that same code base works for WhatsApp AI shopping assistant as well, right? So either Telegram or WhatsApp. Idea is to build a shopping assistant which helps customer with their order, right? I've seen on many portals, many of the clients are looking for this skill, right? The person who can build that, right? So in now let's talk about what our shopping assistant will do, right? So this will be a conversational assistant which will interact with our customer and then will help with the queries like it will search a product, it will check an inventory, find stores nearby, recommend products, right? And this question can be like, do you have Nike running shoes under 5,000? And then it should check inventory and answer the question, right? Like we have seen in the first slide itself. Now, so let's talk about system design, right? And there we let's talk about the high level architecture, right? So first thing comes customer. Let's imagine I'm a customer. I open Telegram and send a message. I need Nike running shoes under 5,000. What do we have, right? So this is just a normal message for customer maybe, but behind the scene there are so many things that are happening, right? So first thing is we need a way our system to receive this message, right? And there comes our Telegram, right? So Telegram is basically a communication channel or an UI, right, by which customer interacts, right? And this can be any other UI that you see in websites that, okay, once you go and visit, a chat window pops up, right? So that is sort of interface that you have for customer to interact with the system, right? So this is what Telegram does here, right? So Telegram is basically a communication channel for now. It provides an interface to which customer can come and then sends a message, and that message will be passed to our backend logic, right? Now, next thing is webhook, right? Now, since we have the Telegram by which customers is sending the message, we need a mechanism that tells our backend that okay, we have received a new message, right? And this is handled by webhook, right? Whenever the customer sends a message, Telegram calls an endpoint and includes such information such as customer's message, chat ID, and metadata, and that is done via webhook, right? Now comes the backend API. So webhook request is reaches to our backend. This backend becomes the entry point for our actual application, right? So the application that we have or the backend logic that we have, right? Job of our API is not to be the brain or of shopping assistant. So idea is that it receives a request, it validates the request and sends it to respective endpoint to sort of perform the logic, right? Or logic which is which will be our agent that handles the query, right? Now, the important part here is the brain, which is our agent, right? So this is where our agent comes in. So once we receive the request, our API endpoint receive the request, like, okay, you, with user questions, what happens? It is navigated to the agent, right? Now, agent is essentially the decision making layer of our application. So this agent layer that we have, this makes decision based on user question. So what happens? Agent does not necessarily contain all the product information, right? So what will happen? This information will be live in database or in other file systems, right? So what will happen? Based on the user request, agent will decide what tools to call, right? So there can be multiple tools, and again, in next video we'll be discussing this, how, what are tools, and then how do we attach that with LLM and then makes uh, LLM or agent to have access to those tools to perform or to answer user questions, right? So agent will be will have access to the different tools, in this case product search, inventory tool, and store locator, and then we'll use these tools to answer the user, to find the information related to user questions. In this case, we have a tool that checks the product, right? So product search, right? So it goes to the database, it checks that okay, whether the shoes are available for the customer budget, which is 5,000, right? And if it finds the information, then it sends back, right? So like that. So that's what the agent does. One more thing I would like to talk about is the that comes under key design decision, right? So LLM should not be the source of truth. When user questions, LLM should not respond, right? So we should have a system design in place that LLM always checks before answering, right? So let's say if a customer asks, is the size 9 available? Then LLM should not say that, okay, size 9 is available. No, it should check, right? So right approach would be that LLM gets the user question, it checks, it calls the tool or method, check inventory. This method sends the response back, and then LLM responds based on the response that is received from the method, right? Now, this is our roadmap. So this entire system that we're going to build, it is divided in 10 part video, right? Because it is really difficult to handle everything in a single video. Otherwise, it is going to be very long video, right? So in this video, we have seen the architecture part. How do we define or create architecture? But then in the next, we'll talk about agent and tools. How do we define tools? How do we add those tools to the agent? How agent calls specific tool, or how does agent makes a decision that okay, I'm going to call this tool? We'll still see how data is maintained. We'll see vector DBs. We'll see retrieval mechanism. So completely RAG pipeline. And then we'll see how do we code with Claude. Then we'll see how do we maintain memory in the entire workflow, so agents understand that okay, what is the context, what has been the past conversations, right? We'll see how the end-to-end workflow is designed. We'll put up guardrails so that our uh, workflow or agent does not reveal any sensitive informations. We'll see or we'll evaluate our agent workflow, that okay, how's the performance, whether it is providing proper responses to queries or not. Then we'll talk about the production deployment, and then we'll have the final system ready, right? So this is because this entire scope is a bit lengthy, so it was not possible to cover everything in the single video, and that's why we have divided into series of videos. Next, we are going to cover how AI agents actually use tools, right? So we'll be designing tools. We'll see how do we attach those with the agents, and we'll see based on user question how our agent workflow decides which tools to call, right? So LLM tool decision, tool call, and this is the entire life cycle we're going to capture in the next video, right? So if you want to follow along, you can subscribe to my channel and then build along the way, right? Hope this was informative. And as I mentioned, I would like to reiterate, this is going to be the series or upcoming series that we will be building. It will be completely focused on building real-time software that is useful for people that solves the real problems than only talking about the concepts or frameworks. Because now I feel the most important point is anyone can code with the help of these coding assistants, but important part is understanding the problem and then designing solution around that. Like, okay, what will be the component, define the overall architecture around that, right? So that is the most important uh, learning that one should have if they want to do get into the job, IT job, or building systems, or if they want to do freelancing, or they want to build their own SaaS products and systems like that, which are planning to sell, right? It's less of coding than finding a problem and designing a system around that, right? So I hope this was informative. If you want to follow along, please subscribe to my channel, and then we'll see you in the next video.